everyone, welcome back to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Nikita, and on this channel we focus on the inclusion of BIPOC, especially South Asian stories, both in literature and in real life. So we have a lot of book chats, book recommendations, as well as my podcast called Brown People Problems. Now we have a bit of a new angle today. I am experimenting with just different filming locations inside my home office. So hope this is not too awkward for you. I also have my trusty little pumpkin because even though it is right now 30 degrees outside where I am, it's still technically September, so it's still technically fall. So here's me with my pumpkins out in the house just trying to embrace this 31 degrees Celsius fall that we're having. So I hope that you're all well. Thank you so much for being here and for continuing to be here. Today we're talking about 5 South Asian fall recommendations that I wanted to share with you. Now let's be real, I have a lot more than 5 books on my fall TBR, and I'm wanting to do a bunch of different videos like this, so sharing fall, just general BIPOC recommendations, 5 South Asian recommendations, some cozy mystery recommendations. Hopefully you like that sort of format, but today we're talking about 5 South Asian books and stories that I think are perfect for fall, especially. Okay, so first up we have Advika and the Hollywood Wives by Kirtana Ramisetti. Now, this author also wrote Devash Shastri's Last Day, which was on Lily's book club pick. I have not read either of those, but generally reviews are good and this seems curious. So, Advika and the Hollywood Wives is about our main female protagonist, Advika, and this seems to be a story that is has a little bit of everything. So it's a bit of romance, a domestic thriller, it's a bit of community and family drama, but essentially follows the story of this South Asian woman who marries this Hollywood person, but she doesn't know too much about his past. When one of his last ex-wives passes away, she leaves some inheritance, but with the condition that Advika has to divorce him first. And so she starts digging up his past, and she starts finding all these questionable things because he's always sort of been aloof about his previous relationships and about his life. And so this giving me that domestic thriller vibes. So as she does all of this research, she finds that she married this person, I believe his name is Julian. She married Julian for all the wrong reasons, and now she has to escape this marriage. And basically what she's gleaned from the lives of all of his exes, she devises a plan to leave the marriage. So I know very little about it. It does sound really interesting. I think when it's fall time, everyone is reading these really intense mysteries and thrillers and murder mysteries and whatnot, but I like to have a bit of a balance with just something that is a little bit thrilling without anything horror or scary. And a good domestic thriller is always fun to read. So I'm excited to check this one out. Now up next I have The Unexpected Inheritance of Inspector Chopra by Wasim Khan. I have not read anything by this author. I am totally brand new to him, but I know he's really, really highly rated. And this is a series, so this could technically, I guess, be a bit of a cozy mystery. But this is set in Mumbai in India, and it starts off with the retirement of a protagonist, Inspector Chopra, and he's retiring from the police force at a relatively young age, and the day of his retirement, the day his retirement is supposed to start, there is a case that's presented to him, and also a baby elephant that's dropped off to him. And so now there's almost these 2 simultaneous mysteries that he has to figure out. Why is this elephant given to him? Because given to him without any context. And so I think he develops a cute relationship with the elephant while he's also kind of grappling with retirement and also solving a mystery. I mean, I don't hear many people talk about it, but this has a solid 3.75 on Goodreads, and certainly falls into the same category as Sujata Massey's books and some of the other Indian mystery authors. So I'm excited to try this out. If this is a good start to the series, I can see myself really enjoying the rest of the series. But I'm excited for this. I like it. The cover is nice. Let's be honest, what a book looks like does have a lot to do with how we feel about it and whether we pick it up or not. whether for good or for bad. But that's just, it is how it is. And I do feel drawn to the cover as well. I like animals when they're in books, especially in a thriller mystery trope like this. Like, you don't expect animals. So that definitely captured my interest. And I'm really curious to see what this book is going to be about. I have started reading it, so I will certainly be talking about it in my September wrap up. I have another classic whodunit, and that is Murder Under Red Moon by Harini Nagendra. This is part 2 to the Bangalore Detectives Club by the same author that I talked about a couple of months ago. I'll have that video linked up as well as down below. And this author is a professor in Bangalore, India, and she writes books on the side, which is a nice hobby to have. And she's a pretty good writer. So this basically follows our protagonist, Kaveri Murthy. She is a 19-year-old new bride. So in the first book, she's a 19-year-old new bride. This is set in 1920s India in the city of Bangalore. And she's a homemaker and she's married to a physician. So I guess she's quite elevated in her social standing. And then there's a murder at a social gathering that she takes it upon herself to resolve. She definitely has a liking towards math and to solving mysteries, and that's something that she's always wanted to do. So it's a bit of an empowerment story as well, I guess you could say. And I enjoyed the first one. I don't recall what I gave it, but I believe it was around exactly what I gave it. But I think it was a 3.5 stars if I'm not wrong. And this is part 2. So Murder Under a Red Moon. This is basically about the anti-British sentiments are on the rise in India, and she's officially now formed the Bangalore Detectives Club, but her life is in danger here. And it is a cozy mystery. It's a cozy mystery, and I flew through the first one. These are under 300 pages, which I think is a great size for what thrillers and mysteries should be. And I'm excited to read this. I will let you know what I think about this. I always love a cozy thriller where the person who is involved in solving the mystery is not someone who does it for a living. So, the other one, the Inspector Chopra one, he's a detective or an inspector. This is just an unassuming housewife. So I think it adds a lot of charm to stories when the person who takes it upon themselves to solve a crime is just a layperson and it's not something they do for a living. I think that adds just so much more charm and excitement and relatability to a book. So I'm excited to check that out. After that, the 4th suggestion for South Asian stories to read in fall is Now You See Us by Balikaur Jaswal. This is the author of erotic stories for Punjabi widows. You have heard me go on and on and on about that book, so I will not today. But this is her new release. It came out this spring, and people have described this book as Crazy Rich Asians meets The Help. It is a mystery. The way that I understand it, the premise is that it's set in Singapore, and it follows the story of these domestic workers in Singapore in today's day and age. It follows the story of 3 of them. When there's apparently a murder in Singapore's elite, what happens is one of the domestic help is blamed for the murder. And I believe it's a story of that community coming together to redeem one of their own. And we go from there. Now, I don't think there is a ton of South Asian characters in this one, but the author is South Asian woman living in Singapore, and I believe she's been there for a while. So she's really familiar with that space and that setting and that community. And she writes some really lovely South Asian fiction as well, and really kind of just giving voices to groups that are underrepresented in fiction. So the Filipino help in this book. So this one is definitely a bit of a different recommendation because all of the other ones that I am sharing are set in South Asia. This one is not set in South Asia, it's set in East Asia, but it is a South Asian author who is very good at writing from the perspective of marginalized groups and minorities. And I really like the premise of this because I don't think I have read any stories really besides The Help that focus on the lives of and the perspectives of domestic workers and how in certain parts of the world they're usually mistreated or blamed and used as scapegoats. And I think this is going to be great. All right, and the very last book on this list is The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. Now, this is a bit of an older book. I believe it was published in 2008, and it won the Man Booker Prize, which is pretty huge. I only know about this because this was turned into a movie recently in the last couple of years. A recent Bollywood movie with Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Rajkumar Rao. And the movie was incredible. And when I learned that this was a book, I knew I just had to read it, even though I know what happens. But I'm really looking forward to this one because this is a story unlike one that I've, heard before. I would describe this book as a dark social commentary on classism that exists in India even today. This follows a story of a simple guy called Balram who is working as a servant for this really, really wealthy family. And I believe the book starts off with him describing to us, the readers, how he came across amassing like a ton of wealth. And then you hear the story of class prejudice, murder, betrayal, and a lot of like family drama and family politics. From what I understand, that he's definitely someone from like the lower caste system, and so they're obviously like mistreated, they're underprivileged, they don't get the same opportunities, and sort of like rising to the surface despite all of that, but not in a way that is endearing, but in a way that perhaps is cold and calculative and a bit villainous, I guess, if you will. And I believe he's referred to as a white tiger, which is a creature that's only born once in a century, or a bit of a rare phenomenon in his group. And I believe in a sense that this is sort of also a coming of age story of someone who's so underprivileged and is surrounded in a corrupt world filled with a lot of discrimination and inequality, and how he fights all of that. This was very interesting as a movie. Maybe I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but I'll read to you like the synopsis from Goodreads. So I'll just read you a portion of it, but go read the whole thing yourself. But it says here that Balram's eyes penetrate India as few outsiders can. The cockroaches and the call centers, the prostitutes and the worshippers, the ancient and internet cultures, the water buffalo, and, trapped in so many kinds of cages that escape is almost impossible, the white tiger. And with a charisma as undeniable as it is unexpected, Balram teaches us that religion doesn't create virtue and money doesn't solve every problem. But decency can still be found in a corrupt world, and you can get what you want out of life if you eavesdrop on the right conversations. This book has been described as amoral, irreverent, deeply endearing, and utterly contemporary. And of course, it was the Man Booker Prize winner in 2008. I'm really looking forward to this, even though I know what happens, because I really appreciate stories, again, that have characters that come from underrepresented and underprivileged, marginalized groups. Especially this one seems like a coming of age story, but it's not, it is dark. It's a dark coming of age story. So again, not your typical fall recommendation where there's just like a simple murder or a thriller or a ghost. And in a way, I feel that this is almost a little bit scarier because it's a commentary on the dark parts of society today and how one man fights all of that. So those were my 5 recommendations. I really hope that there was one that really resonated with you. Let me know which one you end up picking up from this. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you want to hear my thoughts about these, come back at the end of the month for my September wrap up, because I think I will have read all 5 of these by then. If you don't have time for some of these books, definitely check out White Tiger, the movie. I thought it was absolutely great. I believe it is still on Netflix, so give it a shot. But thanks for being here today. Hope you enjoyed this different list of fall book recommendations, and I'll see you in my next one.